listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Your hosts, Nate and John, cover their shared history with the band, discover new music together, and cover the farthest reaches of the Deep Purple family tree and beyond. Here's Nate and John now.
Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 309, Zzebra. And coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago, where it is warming up, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John Spring Forward Matola.
Oh, well, not yet, right?
No, but like Sunday.
Really? So it's Sunday that we do that?
Really?
Shit.
Yep. Oh, well, I mean, by the time this is out, we'll have already sprung
we'll
forward.
Have sprung.
Boing.
Damn it.
Now, wait a minute. Did they probably don't. Yeah, they don't do this in other parts of the world, right?
I think we're probably the only ones stupid enough to do
probably
this.
Idiots, that do it. So, for those of you that don't know, there's a daylight saving time where we spring forward and we set the clocks ahead 1 hour.
So this Sunday, which will be what, March
9th?
9th?
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
Sounds good.
Yes. Yep. So
Sunday,
all I know is I go to bed. I wake up whenever my alarm tells me to. It's like a mild form of what do you call it? When you travel somewhere.
Time travel?
No, not time travel. No,
A mild form of what?
When you go somewhere, the time difference, and you have
jet lag.
Yeah, jet lag. That's it. Oh my God. All right, there's
jet
the
lag
new
on top of the dementia.
there's a new clip for Deep Thoughts with John.
Yeah, what's jet lag?
Oh, what is it? Jet lag? I don't. Yeah, so you have a mild form of jet lag, which I don't, and then everybody bitches. Oh, we lose an hour of sleep. I just go to bed and I wake up whenever my alarm tells me.
It's easy for you to say if you're not, but if you're working, I've done the shift
working.
where if I work, you're working on Sunday.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you can sleep whatever you want.
Oh,
but I've done
true.
the shift before. Like I never know when it's coming. It always surprises me, as was just evidence here. But when I've done the shift where I work late on Saturday night and then I schedule myself to work really early the next morning and then I lose the hour of sleep. It's so bad.
Oh, I remember it's not a thing anymore, but I remember when people would used to show up late to work and everything. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now
remember, by the time clock, you'd have to put up all signs that remember to. And it's funny because every year at work, there's still people who want to do that. Hey, we got to put up signs for people. For who?
For who?
Who doesn't have a phone that's going to automatically change?
Yeah, exactly. Madge. The old crone that has still has one of those digital alarm clocks.
Yeah, the wood panel one. I still have one. It's a wood panel that's got the big red quartz numbers.
Yeah, the first digital clock. It was
the one with that alarm that when it goes off in a TV show or a movie, it's like the most annoying, horrible noise it's all I want to do is make it stop.
Yeah, where I scramble for the remote to hit mute or turn it off until it's over. Yeah, I was actually discussing that with someone the other day. The only clock that I have to reset in this whole house is on the microwave.
Yep.
And that's it. And
my stove has Wi-Fi, so my stove can do it automatically.
All right, I'm not going to get over that sentence. My stove has Wi-Fi.
It does. I can literally on my way home, I can turn it on and preheat it so that when I get home, it's ready to just throw something in the oven.
Wow, that's.
I mean, I've only done it a few times because there's almost always somebody home, but
I mean, I have to say that I hate you for that, but that's so cool. I want to do that.
It is
But yeah,
pretty cool.
I was gonna say there's probably, I mean, my microwave is older, so I mean, I would say if I had a newer microwave, it would probably change its own time.
My and Jeff just got a new oven, and it's got the Sabbath mode on it. So he was like, "Yeah!" He was like, "Thought it was awesome."
The what?
It's got Sabbath mode on it.
What's that?
You ever seen like a stove with Sabbath mode?
No.
It's like because like uh on the Sabbath, if you're Jewish, you can't like press buttons or do like mechanical things, so it like does it for you.
Oh,
Yeah. You can put it on Sabbath
really?
mode where it like I don't actually I've never used it, so I don't actually know what it does, but it's so basically Jews can use these oven during the Sabbath without getting in trouble with God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know there's like lots of workarounds because like Paul's dad used to know like a lot of rabbis and like you can't carry keys and stuff like that. So they'll one of the rabbis
Huh.
he worked with had like a tie and the tie clip was a key, and that was like like kind of a like a workaround. So
Ah,
I don't know.
loopholes, I see.
Yeah, it's just
No,
funny because they just find all these loopholes. So it's like why not just
why even do it?
yeah? I don't think God didn't know that there was going to be I don't know, Wi-Fi. So just I don't know.
Well, I
But
don't know.
anyway,
I just like thought that like, when you said it was like Sabbath mode, it was like you turn on the oven and it plays Sweet Leaf or
yeah,
something.
that's what Jeff was implying. He was excited that his stove had Sabbath mode.
It's like, oh, you turn on one of the burners and it blasts Supernaut.
Super.
Deep cut.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, the Deep Purple podcast, you get all this great stuff for free. We're ad-free, listener supported, 100%. We receive support from you so that we can be 100% ad-free. And the support comes in the form of Apple podcast reviews, which I haven't checked in a while. You can buy merch at our Etsy store. You can become a patron on Patreon or on PayPal for as little as $1 a month. You can donate on PayPal. You can donate on Cash App at $DPPOD or support us on Ko-fi. Or what, John? What's the new hotness?
Super thanks.
Super thanks. That's right, folks. Hey-o! Super thanks. You can give those to us on YouTube. And guess what? We got a super thanks.
Hey-o! We did? Hey-o!
Yeah, we actually got a super thanks from one of our patrons. And that is Alan. That's
all right,
He
Alan
gave us a super thanks on YouTube, and basically the comment was just something like, "Yep, it works." So, thank you. I think he did the same thing for Cash App a while back. So anytime we have a new thing, we should just keep coming up with new things, and Alan will eventually give them a try. It's a good way to squeeze an extra couple bucks out of Alan.
Yup, it works. I love it.
Yeah, so thank you, Alan. So it does work. So for all you YouTube heads out there, don't just smash the like button. Hit the super thanks down below, assuming this episode doesn't get banned. Who knows? But speaking of our patrons, we have some patrons to thank at the executive level, the in memoriam tier, Gerald, Jerry, Kelly, and family. At the $25 uncommon man tier, we have Ovis Nakfi and Purple Maniac. At the 15 squid tier, we have the aforementioned Alan. At the 10-pound good doctor tier, we have Dr. Mike Catan. At the turn it up to $11 tier, Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Mikkel Steen, Will Porter, PhD, PP, and Michael, don't call him Bradford Bagford. And at the $10 someone came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans. And Peter from Illinois. And at the Deep Thoughts by John Matola tier, Fielding Fowler.
And now, Deep Thoughts by John Matola.
Wait a minute. I lost it.
So maybe he'll send a new edited one from whatever you said earlier that was that I've already forgotten.
Well, we expect that from me, but not from you. You should remember.
Exactly. I should. Do you remember?
Oh, it was about jet lag.
Oh, there you go. Oh, they're good. See?
Hey, I'm getting better.
Hey, we did good. All right, so this week, folks, well, actually, before that, Deep Purple Machine Head. If you become a patron, you can rank Deep Purple Machine Head for our rankings episode. We need the rankings by May 5th. Also, as a patron, you get access to our patrons-only Discord and our ratings spreadsheet, and you can join us on live streams such as our Machine Head rankings episode. So please make sure to sign up if you want to participate. And then I mentioned on the last episode, the postcards from the Edge. I received what appeared to be part 2 and part 3 of a trilogy of postcards. Part 1 has still not come in yet. So I think I'm going to wait one more week, see if it comes in. Postcards are a little fickle sometimes, and if it doesn't, I will read these 2 bizarre postcards that I don't get. So, but then again, maybe it won't make any put any light on it or make any sense. Maybe I'll be just as confused when the first one arrives. I don't know.
Either way, no context is always fun. Makes things interesting.
It can be. I suspect who's involved for obvious reasons, but I just don't know what it is. So
yeah.
Okay. So we were talking. I think this came up in the chat the other day. We were talking about Zzebra. So I'm not even going to ask you if you have any history with Zzebra. I bet you don't.
There's like a 80s pop band called Zzebra that I've heard.
There is an American band spelled Zebra with 1 Z.
Yes,
but this is Zzebra with 2 Z's.
Yeah, I've heard some of their stuff. I think I might have even had it on some of my 80s playlists, but this is a different Zzebra.
It's a different Zzebra, a zebra of different stripes. I don't know if it's pronounced zebra or do they call it zebra in the UK?
Or Zzebra.
Is a zebra or Zzebra? I don't know. I don't know how to. But we're gonna call it zebra for now. They call it zebra stripes. They don't call it zebra. They call it zebra, don't they?
They who?
You know, the British.
I don't know
because they call crosswalks zebra stripes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, I'll see that. So much we're learning on this episode today.
Okay.
So I might just go the whole. There's so many opportunities for me to mispronounce things on this episode. We might as well start now. So the reason we're covering Zzebra is because there's actually a couple connections to Gillen, 3 actually, but we're going to start with the obvious, the man himself, John McCoy, who is in the band. So this is a band that formed out of 2 bands. One of them is named If, and I know a lot of folks in the prog community are really familiar with If. They had a bunch of albums in the early 70s. And then they kind of I think they broke up for a while. Then the other band is Zzebra, which is an African band, I believe from Ghana. So these 2 bands sort of came together. 2 people from If and 1 person from Zzebra. So the guitarist, Terry Smith, and Dave Quincy, who is a saxophone player, I believe, came from the band If, and then from the band Zzebra was Abdul Lauti Amao, who was the founding member of that band and was on their first 2 albums. And one of the most notable things, if you look up Zzebra and look at all their albums, you're like, I've seen all these albums before, because they're all their album covers are by Roger Dean, so they all look super familiar. Like he did Uriah Heep, he did Yes, he did all the Asia albums, or maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So when you see these album covers, they have this really familiar look to them. And I did start off by listening to a little If and a little Zzebra to get ready for this episode. And I only listened to the first 5 seconds of the first track on this one, because I thought anytime there's an opportunity to get a real-time reaction, this would be great. Mm-hmm. So I bought the album off of Amazon, and I was like, let's do it here. Another person from the band was Gus Yaden. He was brought into the band, but he was not happy with with it, so he kind of left early. And then Tommy Iyer, who had just returned from the U.S., he was recording with a band called Mark Almond, whose album I actually saw at the record store yesterday. And he went to see that band at this band at the Marquee, and then ended up joining them to complete the album. So So that is the lineup is Dave Quincy. He played with Manfred Mann as well as If. John McCoy, who we all know. He was in a band called Scrapyard with Liam Janaki and Bernie Torme. We're all in that band. So 3/5 of Gillen were in this band.
Nice.
And then he left, and I believe Steve Bird was also in that band at some point. Or maybe he just came on it afterwards. But anyway, at a certain point, the band Zzebra had the drummer, the bass player, and the guitarist for Gillen before they all left to go join Gillen. So it's kind of like, 3/5 of Rainbow joining to go, or 3/5 of Deep Purple going into Rainbow, or 3/5 of Deep Purple going to Whitesnake. There's a lot of connections there. So on congas, baritone sax, tenor saxophone, flute, and percussion and vocals is the Laudi Amau, who was in Osabisa. He played also on Uriah Heep's Look at Yourself album, and he sadly passed away in 1988 in kind of horrific circumstances, got in a fight with a neighbor and got shot. Yeah, pretty terrible. Liam Janaki, who was on this album, he had played with Colin Towns, Jerry Rafferty, Bonnie Tyler, and then he would go on to become the drummer in Gillen. Terry Smith on guitar, who another connection, he was in a band with Tony Ashton, a blues band. And then the keyboardist I mentioned earlier, and then Tommy Iyer coming in to replace him, and he's probably the one who's had the most success after this, working with Alex Harvey. He's actually the guy who wrote or arranged the organ for Joe Cocker's Little Help from My Friends cover, and he played the organ on that song, so it's probably where most people have heard him. He played with Michael Schenker, Gary Moore, B.B. King, John Mayall, so a lot of heavy hitters there. And he also played on the song Baker Street, which everyone has heard. You've heard Baker Street, right?
Have I?
You've heard it.
Yeah,
you probably don't know it as Baker Street because nobody does. It's like that saxophone. You know that one? I just hurt myself. I got a little.
the faces that went along with the impersonation really made it. If I heard it, I would probably know. Yes, yeah.
It's got that like weird thing in the background. So
yeah,
why play the song when I can do this amazing rendition?
Yes, I've heard it.
And then he also worked with a band called Riff Raff, but I don't think it's the rapper Riff Raff. Do you know the rapper Riff Raff?
No, I
didn't either. But he came into work a few years back, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Riff Raff is here!" And I was thinking Riff Raff, like remember that cartoon with Heathcliff and Riff Raff? Remember?
Oh yeah.
But it was like this like guy, one of these guys that's got like this giant grill and like tattoos all over his face. And
I think I remember the name Riff Raff, but I didn't really watch Heathcliff because I thought he was like a Garfield ripoff.
Well, yeah, there's a reason you thought that.
Because he is.
Didn't he have a girlfriend though? Oh no, it was Riff Raff that had like the girl. He was like a short little guy, and he had like the tall girlfriend.
No, and I'm OG Garfield, so.
Yeah, and then Heathcliff, and then like Riff Raff was a bargain version of Heathcliff. But it was like the same show. It was kind of weird.
It was kind of like Transformers and GoBots.
Yes. Although I think GoBots actually came first.
Did they?
Yeah, but they just weren't as good.
Yeah, well, no, they weren't. I was a Transformers guy.
Yes, of course.
For sure.
So he played with a lot of different folks there. Yeah, and then I think the producer's Ken Burgess, who worked on production for the aforementioned Riff Raff and the band Rare Bird, which I actually know thanks to Rye from Sabbath Bloody Podcast. He did he played a really cool song by them. They're really interesting. Engineers are Paul Hardiman and John Taverner. Although in the liner notes or somewhere it lists him as Tony Taverner, but then I looked at somewhere else. So I think the discogs for this album is all screwed up.
Probably. I went looking for this on I know I'm not going to find it on Spotify, and I think that there's another Zebra that's connected to this.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And
So
there's one
yeah.
thing like where the people who wrote some of the songs are all messed up too, and I got some information about that I can get out there later. But
Mm.
so before we get into the album cover, I do want to share a screenshot here with you of the band. So it says who's who. This is kind of a funny picture of the band showing everybody. But the most interesting part to me is look down at the bottom who that is.
Jeez.
It's John
That's
McCoy with hair.
I was gonna guess that it was like the second guy from the right,
Right, yeah, that's Janaki.
but I mean, I was just gonna guess that because it's like, okay,
Because
it's
he was
a
the most bald. Or actually, there's three of them that are kind of. It's funny. There's three of them that are balding much more than he is. So I don't know why he decided to shave his head. He's got a
well,
big old head of hair.
yeah. Well, I mean the the one on the that Janaki looks like he still has a little bit on top, and then he's got the big fro beard. So you figure he would be the one to just shave it all off. But yeah, that does not look like the McCoy that we knew.
No, and the funny thing is with Janaki, if you look at him now, he looks exactly the same, but it's just a big gray beard. Like the beard is exactly the same. The hair
Wow.
is the same. He's just got this big,
Hmm.
big bushy gray beard. So yeah, I don't know what. And so McCoy and Amau are at the bottom, and it looks like I can't tell. I mean, everyone's laughing, so they're clearly having a good time. But it looks like I don't know if he's trying to like fake strangle him, but it looks like he's got something in his mouth too. Or I don't know if he's doing like the orange thing, like from The Godfather. I don't know. I can't tell what's happening in this photo, but it's just a great, joyous picture.
Yeah, they're having a
So
good time.
another picture of the band there, and McCoy, you get a better glimpse of him right there in the back with
Jeez.
the wreath of you don't know where the beard ends and the hair begins, kind of like early 80s Pacey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then here we are with the album cover. John, what do you think of the
Wow.
album cover?
Oh, very, very cool. Yeah, I mean it's it's one of these literal album covers because it's the band is Zebra and you got zebras outside.
Yep.
I think it's cool the way that it looks like they did kind of like somebody projected zebra stripes from like a spotlight or something
Yep.
on the inside of the window looking out, and then you have like the mountain range and kind of the golden hay or grass that they're walking through. So kind of very muted colors, but except for the grass kind of pops, but it's all that kind of neutral colors and everything. So not bad. Kind of nondescript. Like I was flipping through and I didn't know it. I would just kind of go by it. But
Yep.
but I mean, I think it looks like it's well done. It definitely doesn't look like it's a cheap album cover by any means.
No, it looks really cool. Yeah, it's like almost like they dropped like a house like in the middle of the savannah, and you see like 4 or 5 zebras there just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, that's kind of what I was thinking. At first, I was thinking, oh, the room's painted, but now it looks like a projection where it's like hitting. There's like a couch with a drop cloth in the foreground.
Yeah.
That looks like it's actually got like a zebra stripe pattern to it, but the walls look like it's being projected or something. It's kind of interesting. And a cool logo, very like kind of metal looking logo.
Yeah.
Although we're not going to be getting really metal, I don't think. And then this is the back cover, which is the same, which I'm only actually picking up on now, but it was kind of obvious. It's the same scene basically without the projection of the zebra.
Right.
And it's like a yellow room with the same couch with the drop cloth. And then, but outside the window now is like a city. Looks like a shoe store and a theater, a steak restaurant. And I don't know what it says on that marquee there. It says New Year something.
Yeah. Interesting though.
Yeah, kind of cool album cover. There was a CD release of this that was one of those double releases that's got this with bonus tracks, as well as their second album with some bonus tracks. I did reach out to John McCoy to just be like, just as a kind of a Hail Mary, like, hey, anything to say about Zzebra? And he actually wrote me back a lot of stuff.
Oh.
He said Zzebra with an exclamation point. I loved that band and the musical freedom we had. Myself and drummer Liam Janaki had been working together for a couple of years in folk rockers Curtis Muldoon with tours of the USA to support Badfinger and the album Muldoon on Purple Records, followed by a stint with American folk legend Julie Felix touring the UK, Far East, and after that became popular as bass drum session players in very varied musical genres. We shared an appreciation of many styles. One such session was for a low-budget film score. Also booked for the session was Dave Quincy and Terry Smith from a very successful jazz rock band, If, and an African percussionist sax flute player, Laudi Omao, from the band Osabisa. When the session work was finished, we kept on jamming into the early hours, loving each other's playing, and we all agreed it was something special and different. And soon Zzebra was born. Through Dave's jazz connections, we were soon playing London jazz circuit, even securing multiple shows at the prestigious Ronnie Scott's Club. Through Laudi's success with Osabisa, we crossed over into the rock circuit, playing the Marquee and touring with Soft Machine and Chick Corea's Return to Forever. To continue, we recorded the first album at a rural residential studio in Kent called Escape Studios, where we were able to immerse ourselves in exploring this unusual mix of musical styles. By this time, we had been joined by singer-keyboard player Gus Eden from pop rock group Love Affair, under the magical production work of Ken Burgess and engineer Tony Taverner. The band continued to record 2 further albums with various changes in personnel until, like many 70s bands, we were hit by the onslaught of punk. That's enough for now, isn't it? Cheers and enjoy listening to the soundtrack of A Lost World. Cheers, John. Pretty cool. Nice of him to write all that back.
Yeah, like a couple of sentences would have been good, but he gave.
I was honestly expecting to be like, oh man, I don't remember much from it. Yeah, it was just a thing, but yeah, he was very excited about it. So
yeah, very cool.
So yeah, and with that, we should I guess we should thank our next round of patrons and then get right into the music.
Yeah, I think it's time.
All right. So for our patrons at our core level, we have at the $6.99 new nice price tier, Spike the Rock Cat and Sugar Tea. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell.
Steve.
Arthur Smith.
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith.
Anton Glaving.
Pain in the glaving.
And Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 almost evil tier, we have Kenny Wymore and Richie Sucksmith. At the 70 Norwegian kroner tier, we have Kai Runa. Yes, I'm Norwegian Olsen. At the $5.99 the nice price tier, Robert Smith and Carl Helberg. At the 60 kroner Scandinavian Nights tier, DJ Newt Morton Johansson. Oops. That was the remix.
I like that. My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Just one off there.
You guys like to have sex?
Oh my goodness. At the €5.50 tier, Merline Rota. At the $5 money lender tier, we have John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexi the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, Kev Roberts, Percival Frequency, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, DJ Raf Calf.
My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Coyote Bongwater. John Maselli.
I've been trying for quite a while to get a look at you.
Oh, boy.
Sarah Sanders.
No, Kelly Clarkson.
Jelly Bean, Evan Robison, Richard Fusey, Purple Swede, and oops, I actually put Merlin down here. Oh my goodness, get rid of that one. So yes, thank you to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast.
Oh, you forgot Purple Swede's thing. I'll do it. Ooga chaka, ooga Swede.
Dumb friggin' Swede. Ooga chaka, ooga Swede. Yeah, I got all mixed up. All right. Yeah. So interesting about Norway so I go to this record store yesterday and I texted John and Nick and Scott actually, because I was in there. So it's this record store that's also a bar. So you go in there and
That's cool.
They have draft beer and there's records and there's little like glass holders next to all the record stands. So you can just put your glass down, look through the records, move over to the next one if you want. So it's really cool. And they're playing records and I go over there and I open a tab and then I look over and he's taking Blizzard of Oz out and putting it on the turntable. I was like, oh, this is a cool place. And then the guy sitting at the bar was wearing a hat that was the Norwegian flag. I was like, this is a great place right here.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, okay, we are here, folks. We are ready to get into this album. The first track, the opening track on this one is called Cobra Woman.
Ooh.
Like the Baroness. I like the little guero there. So far, really cool groove. Love that percussion.
She is a cobra woman, and all her words are lies. Can't you see that you're never free? Won't you look into her eyes? Cobra woman's evil. She makes your senses burn.
So the
kind of
the dangerous woman.
Kind of has like a early Santana feel to it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it gets a little kind of upbeat.
Yeah. I love the vibe of this so far. I love that.
Ooh.
That little guitar in the background is like the really like I think it's a guitar. It's so fuzzed out.
I don't know, that sounds like a sax or something, no?
Maybe it's a crumb horn?
No, it's a sax.
Oh yeah. I'm like, yep. It's like a sub-bass saxophone. It's kind of cool. It's got this like really sinister verse, but like this up chorus. like he's resigned himself to the fact that he wants the evil Cobra Woman so bad that he doesn't even care what's going to happen to him at this point.
It's true.
And it said that this track was written by nice flute solo. This track was written by Yaden, or hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Gus Eden, and also Page-Akers, and I found like some incorrect information about who those people were, and I asked John, and he said basically he remembers the names, but he can't remember what their involvement was.
Makes sense. Okay, we're not doing it. We're not looking in her eyes.
Message received. This is great. Really hearing a different dimension to like McCoy's bass playing. And it's probably things and techniques he was doing in Gillen, but just there wasn't as much open space to maybe notice it in Gillen.
Probably. I mean, this is a much different style of music.
Yes.
But I can see how he could have become involved in Gillen, though. Because Gillen wasn't always just straightforward rock. He did some kind of crazy stuff.
But it is funny that Gillen wanted to ditch the jazz fusion, so he took 3 guys from this band. Oh, this will give me that hard rock sound I'm looking for. I mean, it worked.
You know, in that fusion band that I took him from.
Yeah, I'm gonna just, where can I find some good rock players? I'm gonna look at some fusion bands and see what I can get.
Let me look around. What fusion band could I Richie Blackmore these people from?
Oh man.
Oh no, actually that would have been if Gillen like went into Zzebra and then just kicked out the singer.
And kept the horn players. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. So that was Cobra Woman. John, where do you rank this one?
I would say I'll give it a 3.5. I thought it was good. I really I feel like just I did a little bit of research on the album because I'm like, all right, what am I getting myself into here? And so I knew it was all these like really different style, like we're going to get early like just straight ahead rock. But I feel like this album it fits in so far because this song I feel like it had like they threw like every instrument in, like the kitchen sink, you had just guitar, all this percussion, keyboard, you had a triangle at one point. It was just it was good, and a flute, but like a hard flute solo, not all wimpy and shit.
A wimpy flute solo. I want to hear a wimpy flute solo.
Yeah, well, you didn't on this album,
and I suspect we will.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good because sometimes you have kind of that kitchen sink approach to music, and it sounds like it's trying too hard, and
yeah.
This didn't really. It sounded like it fits in with the time. Like I said, maybe it's because I'm hearing like Black Magic Woman, and they're saying Cobra Woman, whatever. But I did hear kind of like an element of Santana, and maybe it's because they did kind of the type of player he was and the percussion they used. They kind of had that element in there that other rock bands maybe didn't. The um, just because they were playing like a different like cultural type of music instead of just like straight ahead, like, oh, we're gonna to just do straight ahead English blues or something.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it was interesting. It was pretty good.
I will give this one a 4. I really, really I love the mood it sets. I love the
Yeah,
groove
moody.
of it. It's mellow and but like inventive. I love the percussion. I love the horns, the bass playing, the vocals are great. I love that outro where he just keeps repeating, like, don't look in her eyes. Like there's just I don't know. There's so many things about it that could not work for me, but it all works for me beautifully. I think it's awesome. It makes me really, when I heard those first like 5 seconds, I was like, I was holding myself back from listening to the rest because it's really my style. So now hearing the whole song, I'm excited to listen to the rest of the album and see what it's like. Are we gonna have similar things, or how much from this are they gonna branch out? I don't know. But yeah, that was Cobra Woman. And the next track up is called Mr. J.
That's me.
Yeah. With the drums fading in. Oh, man.
Let's come together, Mr. J. Bring us together, Mr. J. No more race problem, no prejudice. No matter if you white or you red or you black, Mr. J. We got to keep on trying, yeah, to come together.
Trying to find the lyrics for this, but I'm not finding them.
It was good.
United we stand, Mr. J.
This reminds me of
Divided we fall, Mr. J.
Fela Kuti. He was like a Nigerian musician who's just, his albums are all like 4 songs long, and they're all like 12, 15-minute songs that are just like this, and it's just awesome funk music. This sounds to me like if we had discovered this album in high school, we would have just put this on in the background and jammed out to it. It's like the kind of thing we would like search out at record stores.
Yeah.
We got 200, Mr. J.
Yeah, because you got this like really tribal type of percussion and this jazzy kind of rhythm, and then this kind of like, I don't know, what would you call the vocals? Not really like reggae type vocals, maybe, and then you have like
I mean, it's very like Afro, rock or Afro punk or what? Not punk, I guess. Afro pop.
Like, this funky horn section in the background, like you would hear in like the Superfly soundtrack or something.
Oh, interestingly, the band Osabisa did the soundtrack for Superfly.
Okay.
But it was after this. It was like the next album, I think, or 2 albums after this guy left that band. But it has that same vibe.
Well, this has got a really good.
And this was written by the Amau, who I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Solo, he wrote this.
Now, who's that? That's the
singer. He does like. He's credited as like singer, percussionist, saxophone. So if anybody listening likes this, I'd highly recommend listening to Fela Kuti. He is the guy who, the legend was when Paul McCartney went to go record his Band on the Run album. He recorded it in Nigeria. And when he got there, Fela, he was recording for a little while, and Fela heard about this and was like, I don't want this white so-and-so coming in here and stealing our music. So I'm going to go like confront him. And he goes to the studio, and I might be getting parts of the story wrong, but he goes to the studio and is like, you motherfucker, you coming over here stealing our music? Like, he's all pissed off at Paul McCartney. And Paul McCartney was like, oh, no, I'm not doing anything like that. He's like, let me play you some of the stuff we've recorded. So he played him like a few minutes of stuff they recorded, and he was like, okay, we're cool. And he just left. You're good. Clearly not stealing any of our music. I don't know how he ended up in Nigeria to do that album, but yeah, he's got his stuff definitely is like this. And I've got a bunch of his albums, and yeah, it's one of those things like I can't really tell necessarily the difference between the albums so much, but you just put them on for a little bit and you're just like, it's just grooves like this. And it's just, I don't know, to me, I love listening to stuff like that. So, all right, Dr. J, Mr. J. No, you didn't go to medical school yet. Mr. J, what do you think of that one, Mr. J?
Mr. to you, sir,
yeah,
like Mr.
I didn't
T.
spend 7 years at J Medical School to be called Mr. Thank you.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Oh,
yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, this is like now it's starting to take off. It's starting to cook. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like yeah, it's just a really a lot of like melody and rhythm and like good elements in the song that make it really different, but kind of very recognizable. Like especially the last section, like maybe like the last minute, I got this vision in my head of like this is like, you know, it could be in the soundtrack of like a like early 70s like cop movie or blaxploitation film or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's got that really just kind of I don't know, that vibe of that really captures the vibe of that music. And I know especially back then, like what was this album?
74.
74, yeah. So even like early 70s, I mean, you had music like this played alongside rock and pop and, you know, maybe even early disco. It's just like, that's one of the great things is like about, you know, the 70s is just all this music kind of existed right next to each other. And I think that's why sometimes you get this kind of, you know, combo of styles in there, because it's like, yeah, it was like a little rockin', a little groovy, a little something different, a little something familiar, you know. And even the vocals, like was he singing in an accent or was he singing in like a different language?
No,
to me, it sounded like he was kind of both.
English, but it was, I mean, maybe some of it was a different language. But certainly the accent. And I think there's just the blend of this funk and sort of like jazz prog that you're getting from these other guys, and then the African rhythm and music in it is just really interesting. Like really cool to listen to. I agree. I will also give this a 4.5. And I really loved the opening track, and I think this one takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, are they gonna keep it up? Are they gonna take a left turn? Who knows? That was written by a completely different person than the first album. The next track up is, find my sheet here. The next track up is called Mahjong, and this one is written by Quincy and Smith, who are from the band If, and then John McCoy also has writing credits on this one too. So let's take a listen to Mahjong.
Nice fluttering flute.
Yeah. Yum. And that bass is just so up front. The tone is great. I love that electric piano. We had the clavichord in the last track. It sounded like there were 3 different keyboards in the last track.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be an instrumental.
Yeah, I'm thinking, but I guess we'll see. Ever play Mahjong?
No.
It's a fun game.
Oh. Yeah, my mom plays it with her friends.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, you're an old lady?
I am.
No, what is that? What is Mahjong? I don't know.
It's like it's hard to describe, but it's a game where you get all these tiles that almost look like dominoes.
Oh.
And they've got different like symbols on them, and you gotta like match up symbols to like eliminate them.
Okay.
It's fun. You can find like an online version probably to play.
Mahjong with friends?
I don't think I've ever actually played it without like just playing it on a computer. This is really reminding me of a song on Songs in the Key of Life, and I can't think of which one it is.
Pretty good shit.
Yeah, I think it's Contusion I'm thinking of. Oh. That's kind of a crazy sound. Sorry,
Bill Cosby music.
A visual joke that won't translate to the audio podcast, but John is doing his impression of his brother's impression of Bill Cosby. That would have been great. If they had gone one more season, they could have used this as the opening. Wow. It's really weird stereo effect with those 2 instruments. It reminds me of this guy I follow on Instagram who plays the iwi. He's got like a song called like
iwi.
Iwi. It's like an electronic saxophone. You can get these crazy sounds out of it. They sound very like liquidy. All his songs are called like bloop, bloop and stuff like that because it just sounds like bloop, 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 like when you're playing. I could see how these guys would have, been doing that recording session and then just like hanging out and jamming for like hours.
It's very unpolished sounding, but really good,
Yeah. Like the whole album sounds great, like the production.
Yeah, it's not slick by 70s standards, but it's not sloppy either. It's like just the right amount of rawness for, I guess, a jazz album.
Perfect what you need for this, yeah. Wow.
Woo.
Feel like playing some mahjong. You'll hear that on the audio podcast, not on YouTube, though. John's crazy mouth noises were deemed too inappropriate for YouTube. They got banned.
Sorry, folks.
All right, John, mahjong. What do you think of the song?
4.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. 4.
There you go.
That was really good. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of jazz type of stuff, so I mean that reminded me of Quadrant 4.
Yes.
Billy Spectrum, I'm sorry, Billy Cobham a little bit. Mostly the guitar part, because he kind of used that kind of delay tone type of thing, like that really kind of on the guitar solo to give it kind of that big echoey sound. But the thing is that I feel like if and I mean, the guitar was good, but it's like it was best way I could say is was probably nondescript next to what somebody like Tommy Bolin would have laid down on this. You know what I mean? Like it sounded good, but it wasn't extraordinary. But I mean, it was like I actually liked the sax solo and the other parts of it better than the guitar solo as a whole. But like I said, when you heard all the instruments taking their solos and stuff like that, it's you could hear like the musicians kind of like rawness and emotions coming through, something you don't really get on albums today. Like we've talked about quite a bit, because it's heavily edited or perfected or whatever. And this way, it's like when the guy was like, blowing into the sax, you could just hear like you know what I mean? You could just hear
hear the click of the keys and the
yeah,
the sound of the breath, like all the imperfections that maybe tried to edit out or filter out.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the cool things about older or lesser produced albums is that when you're at a live show, right? That's why a lot of people like kind of raw live shows, is because you kind of get that experience live. So when you can capture something like that as close as you can on a recording, it's very cool.
Yep.
So
I'm going with a 4 as well. I really dug this, and I think when you said Spectrum, I think I'm picking up on some of that, as well as Stevie Wonder. Also, I like what the guitarist was playing was very inventive. Like it was very fast, and it was like he was playing. You could tell he was playing like almost beyond the limit of his skill. But I really like that. It's like playing with a level of confidence above what you can actually do, and you think, and you're just playing, and I don't know if you've ever had those moments when you're playing and you just think like, you feel like you're in the zone and you're like, I could just play things that I know aren't right and I'm going to do it anyway. And, if you're in the right frame of mind and if you sound right, you can make it work. And it sounds kind of like what he was doing. He wasn't trying to fit a formula or do just a standard, he wasn't just like, I'm going to use pentatonic minor on this. He was like, no, I'm going to just play, like lose myself in the instrument and play whatever comes to mind and experiment a little, and maybe some things will work and some things won't. And that's kind of you get that sense from Bolin on Spectrum as well, which you put really well. I don't think it's at the same level, but it's the same idea. Really, really cool stuff. There's only one track left on the first side of this album, and this one is called, I believe it's pronounced Ife. cool. It started off with it's what sounded almost like a religious sort of song, you know, something spiritual. I mean, it's just a guess. I have no idea what they were saying. So on this song, you can hear like a definite like he's over modulating a little, and like the microphone is picking up his voice a little. It's coming in a little hot.
Yeah.
Like with his breath. But I like that they kind of did that and chose to leave it. And then you've got that really almost distorted electric piano. Sounds like a djembe.
A what?
It's a djembe. It's like an African drum. I have one right over here.
Of course you do.
A guy I work with made it for me. It's really cool. This was when I was working in Connecticut.
Ah.
Look at that. He made it for me.
Jeez.
Yeah, when we'd have meetings at work, I didn't ask him to do this, but he would just like, he brought this in one time to a meeting, and I was like talking into the microphone, and then when I was done saying something, he was just like, he like did like, it's just like, this is awesome. And then when I left to move here, he gave this to me before I left. He said, I made this for you.
Nice.
It's still in great condition. I can see like the bottom of it, how it's carved out of the wood. You know, you can see like the little marks from where it was carved. Yeah.
A very neat gift.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the nicest things anyone's ever given me. They're kind of throwing in all these little weird oddball things here at the end.
I don't know. It's a little monotonous, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of different parts here. I think it's they're throwing in a lot of little one-off things and things that are keeping it interesting. But yes, it is. Apparently, he was also in a band with Ginger Baker. This guy.
Oh, that makes sense. He was a big kind of like a drum influence. I know that he's did a lot of I mean, I didn't really hear much of his stuff past Cream, but I know that he was known for doing a lot of crazy stuff on the drums.
It says he was it was Ginger Baker's short-lived Afro-Anglo band Air Force.
Yeah, see. So that's probably why, I mean, yeah, you see drummers back then, that's why they were so good, is they weren't just into one style. They pooled everything together. I mean, all musicians, and then came out with something unique.
Oh, Steve Winwood and Denny Lane were in that band too. Interesting. All right. So, what do you think of Ife? If I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a Tufe. Tufe. I gotta give it a 2.
All right.
I didn't really go anywhere. It just kind of felt like it was in a loop with some different kind of parts in there, but it was like and I mean the lyrics had to have been another language, but it was just da bo day, ba da 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 da. It was just the same thing over and over, and it was like it went on too long.
Yeah.
And I know that there are some songs they kind of thrive on that, just let's just keep doing the same thing over and over and layer it with parts and stuff. But nothing really happened in here that really got me going like some of the other songs.
It reminded me of Watermelon Man by Herbie Hancock. Do you know that one?
Offhand, I don't think I do.
It's like the one from Headhunters. It's like I think it's the second track on it. And it starts off with this like hoo ah, hoo ah, hoo ah, hoo ah. It like sounds exactly like that. And well, maybe not exactly, but pretty close. Like it's like actually like I think it's vocal noises like that. And but that goes on for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like it gives you the impression like this one did that it was a loop almost. Like they looped the tape and they were like, let's jam over this. Like it sounded like that da 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 was like on a loop, and they were putting in their own percussion things and all the other things. So you heard differences to indicate that it wasn't just a straight loop. But yeah, it's a style, and I think that's what Herbie Hancock was going for in that song as well. But I could see why it could be repetitive. I'll give it a 3. I do like it, not as much as the other stuff on the album so far. But it's kind of a cool way to just mellow out to the last side of the album. And I think, again, if you're putting this album on to have in the background and hanging out and smoking doobies or whatever, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing. But yeah, but I like it. I like it overall. But let's flip over this album, and the first track on the second side is a song called Spanish Fly.
Ooh.
Which naturally makes me think of do you remember when Rose didn't know what Spanish Fly was on the Golden Girls?
Yeah.
It makes me think of that. And Dorothy's just yelling at her. Enough, Rose! I don't want to hear the word Spanish Fly ever again! Ooh. Tasty little bass run here. This is like in 5/4 maybe? It's almost in like 10.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Is it in 10/4 maybe? I don't know. Whatever it is crazy.
Nate, I don't know.
I'm feeling this might be another instrumental.
Oh, that's okay by me. You kind of get the dissonant solo.
It's just like the Van Halen Spanish Fly, an instrumental.
Spanish Fly. Or we used to hear about it. It was like, ooh, put a few drops of this in someone's drink and they want to have sex.
And then JLT goes bloop bloop and
You guys ever have sex?
it waits a few minutes for it to kick in, and then he hits him with that line. Ooh.
Yes.
I think that part is in 6. This is awesome.
All right, you gotta stop.
I gotta stop with the time signatures.
Yes.
I have to know though.
It makes me think about that. There was like years ago was this Sex and the City episode.
Yep.
Where it's like, you know, you have all the posh women going out and everything, and then there was this guy, they called him the fixer-upper or something. He was just like this big dork, you know, and he was eating, you know, he was eating the food, and he's just like, he goes, what kind of pears do you think of this? Do you think they're Basque? I think they're Basque. And then she's just like, nobody gives, Kim Cattrall's like, nobody gives a shit. I feel right now, is this 610? Is this 1020? Like, who cares, Dave? Well, listen, I had some early 70s shred going on there.
And some of the albums they're really hard to find because the word "if" is like almost impossible to find, but that band is on Spotify as well as Osabisa. So there's some cool backstory to listen to on this album. Oh, nice.
Listen to that bass. Listen to McCoy go.
Oh.
Oof. That was it, huh?
That song was hot as shit.
And it was in 610 and 4/5 and 11/12.
It was in 10 and probably 6. I don't know. I'd have to go back. I'll go back and listen. I'll report back because I know you're dying to know. All right, Spanish Fly, John.
I really enjoyed that. I'm going to give it a 4.5. That was just really good. There were a lot of like just good dynamics in it, and it was intense, and it was heavy and just really dynamic sounding.
And it was one of the shorter songs in the album so far, only a little over 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I like songs or instrumentals like that just really have this kind of like this feeling to them, like there's a lot of tension in it, and it gets over really fast. It doesn't stay too long to the party.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And
and a lot of these songs, with the exception of that Ife song, are kind of fitting that mold where they're all a little on the long-ish side, like 5 to 6 minutes. Not crazy, but a little bit on the longer side. But most of them, with the exception of track 4, aren't really feeling it. They're because there's so much energy going on there. I will also give this a 4.5. Oops. Yeah, I really, really liked that one. Just kind of, it all, I want to say it builded. It builded good. it built to, like, I want to say it built to a crescendo, but it didn't really. It was like the whole song was a crescendo. It was just like this, like, frenetic, like, crazy, just all over the place song, and then it just boom, it just stopped dead. It was really, really great listen.
Yeah, that stopped after it builded.
It builded too much, so it had to stop. They stopped the music. Okay.
Yeah, still my favorite sports team.
Exactly. So that one was written by Quincy and Smith. And now this next one is a Muso Fee. Or a Muso Fee, I don't know. It's written by Quincy Yaden, who was the one who left shortly after the album started, and Amau once again. So a Muso Fee. Oof.
People used to laugh at him.
Damn.
The man they called a Musafeo. They used to stare and point at him, laughing at a Musafeo.
So Gillan probably knew these guys from, if they worked with Curtis Muldoon, he probably knew them from Purple Records and knew that they were good session guys. But again, I can't imagine him listening to this and be like, these are the guys I need to get me out of this jazz funk rock rut that I'm in. A Muso Feo. I wonder who's doing the backing vocals. I must say it here. Everyone has like a million credits here. Liam Janaki is quoted has on vocals, and Yaden on vocals. And Laudi Amau. Like they say, he was on percussion African, and Liam Janaki was on like percussion non-African, I guess. I don't know how you would determine, but here, listen to that like distortion on that conga in the left channel. Now they stopped.
No, I heard it though before.
Oh, it's like making like. Oh, that might actually be like a synth.
Yeah, it sounded like there were tones to it.
Yeah, they almost sounded like they twiddled the knobs on a Moog to make like the wacky, crazy sounds or something. Horns sound really familiar to me. Yes, somebody got a hold of a vibra slap. I saw you look to your side like something fell in the room.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because you don't usually hear it used like that, at least in rock music.
It's just like, yeah. And they're panning it like back and forth.
Well, yeah, usually you hear it like you do in Crazy Train.
Yeah, this one doesn't have a lot of sustain on it. What's that? Damn. It's just like,
Interesting.
all right. Wow. And this album's full of surprises.
Yeah.
All right, John, a Musafe.
I'll give it a Musafe a 2-point Fay. I thought it was like average, like halfway. You know what I mean? It's I think that there are some. I like the songs that are just really just cooking, for lack of a better word. Then there are the other ones like this, which are kind of very, I guess, monotonous. They're kind of like slow paced, and they kind of drag out a little bit. And then you have all these different kind of elements they're throwing in, and you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But it's almost kind of like this is another song like Ify or whatever. What was it called? Ife? Ife?
I think Ife. There's
Ife,
like a little,
which was
there's
kind
an
of
there's an
which is kind of like it's in a
the east.
which is feels like it's kind of in a continuous loop of just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, and then they build on it a little bit, but it's like yeah, even in this one, the horn section, it sounded kind of a bang, 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 and it just it had like a nice groove to it, but it was just a little sluggish on a bit of a sluggish side for my taste.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I really liked it.
Oh.
Should have warned you. I think John gave himself a hernia. Yeah, they're like I love the horn section. Like, I mean, it was just really tight. I love the backing vocals. I love just the constantly kept you guessing on the percussion. It wasn't just like,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit the drum like this. We're going to, every time I noticed something, it wouldn't come back the next time, and then it would come back. So it was just always it just really, I feel like it kept you on your toes. Yeah.
All right, that's
I don't know. I liked it. I don't know what to say.
that you liked it.
Yeah, there we go. I already said that. All right, next track up is called Rainbow Train. Ooh. Got a proper piano there on the right channel.
Yeah.
This is a very joyous song.
Yeah, very uplifting type
Going
feel
off the
to it.
rails on a rainbow train. Oh. Ooh. Boom, boom.
Let us take you, take a ride on our rainbow train.
This was the single.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, right.
This was the hit single.
Oh, wow. The guitar is doing this like weird harmonizing thing with the horns. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice how they pan to that piano roll from right to left.
Yeah, they're not doing too much of that stuff on this album, but I think the little that they do, they use it to great effect.
Yes. Very easy to overdo studio stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stop right down to Sunshine Street. Take a ride on a rainbow train. Once inside, you are not afraid.
Wow. Oh. Hot damn. Wasn't
Goes
expecting
for
that.
a loop. Yep. Like how the bass is not just there to hold down the low end, but it's just basically functions as like another solo instrument.
Yeah, it's almost like a lead on this song. This is almost like a Pink Floyd style breakdown groove.
Good call.
Just everyone just doing their own thing in their own little pocket, you know? Like you get the piano over here doing this, you get the guitar. It's just...
Oh, and they just right back into it.
And it's almost like they didn't tell John that the change was going to come. He's still just going. The whole thing broke down and he was just going like this and it came back and he's just... It's awesome.
Once inside, you laugh again.
Like how the guitar is harmonizing with the horn section. You pointed that out. I like that.
It's just unusual. You don't hear that.
Oh. Quick fade into oblivion.
It seemed like they did an ending, but they're like, nah, we're going to fade it anyway. Maybe something went really wrong at the end. Let's fade it. Oh, wow. All right. Rainbow Train, John. What say you?
Let me see. I'm feeling a 3 right here for that.
All right.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think that the bass was really the thing that I enjoyed the most in this. I just think that some of these songs, like the vocals or maybe the melody of this is just kind of, it's almost like secondary to the rest of the song. It's almost, I don't know, maybe if they had a different vocalist or somebody with more power in there, it sounded pretty average, next to the music and everything the music was doing.
All right.
But also it's like da 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 the Rainbow Train. Didn't really hit me as much.
Yeah.
Like overall, I thought the the song was good, but that part of it, like the lyrics part of it, I enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed the music better.
Was it
Like
the
if it were,
Gillen thing of following along to the?
yeah, maybe. And I realized too, like I've been listening to, I don't know, can't remember what I was listening to. I was listening to some song the other day where they were doing that in the song, and I thought to myself like, oh yeah, but I actually enjoy it in this song, where they
Yeah.
were kind of singing along with the melody, but sometimes it doesn't work for me. But um, yeah, yeah, I think that was probably the weakest part in this song, as far as I'm concerned. But I really like the music. If it were an instrumental, maybe I would have rated it higher.
I'm gonna give it a 4 again. I really liked this one. I loved that breakdown too. I thought it was just unexpected and didn't see it coming at all. And it was just, I loved the groove of it, and I loved that. I loved what McCoy was doing all over the place on that song. And I see what he's saying now about the freedom he felt with this band. And I always, again, I don't know if always, but I have an appreciation when bands are doing their own thing and it's unfiltered by song doctors or whatever, just people coming in, oh, you can't do that because people don't do that. When people are just like, no, I'm going to just do this weird ass thing and I don't care what anybody thinks, like, I'm usually going to just like it for that reason. The fact that it's something it's something different. It's something you wouldn't necessarily expect. There's a lot of surprises. And there's things that make it into the mainstream or into more pop areas that are like that probably should never do that. That just kind of squeak by with like weird things. Like, there's no way, Bohemian Rhapsody would never have been like on the radio. It's just too freaking weird, but people just accepted it for whatever reason. And I like it when people do stuff like that. It just doesn't generally get accepted.
Yeah.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. It brings us to our final track, the song Hungry Horse. Whoa. it's like they almost can't even do it. This one was written by Quincy, Yaden, Amau, and Smith. Oh, this is the one that Tommy Iyer has a quote on. I can read later. Listen to the guitar specifically when they do that fast run. And now they're not going to do it for a while. So Tommy Iyer was telling the story that it must be that part where he kept playing that part on stage, the guitarist, and he kept messing up. And then I guess he had this huge like metal weight in his coat that he took out and threw on the floor, and then he was able to play it perfectly. So it's like, I don't know if it was part of the stage act, like he was pretending he couldn't play it that fast. That sounded like Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
No drum solo.
I'm okay with that. Actually, I don't know. I think maybe a short drummer percussion solo with this band might not be too bad.
Not like the the 3-minute Warhorse drum solo from the album.
Ugh.
Now they're going into like a weird 12 bar jazz. And they've got these two saxophone players too, so I don't know which one's playing what.
Good sax solo.
Huh. Sounded like they punched in some of those drums in the right channel.
See? Guitar solo. I mean drum solo.
Yeah, but I feel like this is tastefully done. It's also percussion going on too. Man, it sounds like that floor tom sounds like just an explosion.
I feel like the song's going on a little long.
Oh. You don't expect vocals to start at the 5-minute and 30-second mark.
No.
Somebody get this horse an oat bag. Complete chaos. Oh. That just
Okay.
no no stinger or anything. It just boom, done.
Hungry horse. Hungry horse.
All right, John. What do you think? What do you
Hungry
rank?
horse.
Hungry horse. And my Uncle Herb used to yell at my little cousin because she'd say horse. He'd go, horse? What's a horse? Yeah, he's like, you live in Rhode Island. It's a horse.
Uncle Herb.
Yeah, he was one in a million. All right, what do you rank Hungry Hoss?
Remember Dave called him Uncle Herb?
Uncle Herb.
All right, sorry. All right, let me see. Um, yeah, what are we talking about? Hungry Hoss.
Hungry Hoss.
Um, hmm. You know what? I'll give it a 3. I thought it was like there were good parts to it, but overall, I think it was just not the strongest closer
Mm.
or song, and I think for me it suffered a little bit from what the other songs did. Is just it's in that kind of like never ending loop of just like the same vocals over and over again,
Mhm.
which maybe that's something that jazz or fusion does, but I don't like it.
I will give it a 2.5. I definitely would probably say this is my least favorite track on the album. I don't know. I feel like the vocals didn't do a heck of a lot for it at the end. Like at that point, it might as well just have remained an instrumental. But some cool stuff leading up to that. With the hungry horse. And I say that knowing that in 3 days I'm still going to be singing hungry horse. Like I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head.
And that's the problem. It's catchy, but it's not
catchy.
It's not good. It's just catchy.
Yeah, it's just it wasn't my favorite, but yeah. But before we go into our closing thoughts, and while John fumbles with the spreadsheet, I will thank our next level of patrons, and that is, of course, our foundation level patrons. Coming in at the £3.50 Deep Purple New York tier, we have Lord Longford. At the £3 Aromatic Feed tier, we have Simon Ford and Richard Brees. At the 293 pence tier, we have
Blackmore Tights.
At the $3.33 Halfway to Evil tier, we have Stephen Sharp and Duncan Leask.
Smoke on the water while you're in the sky.
I have to see if Lucy can do Hungry Horse. Hungry Horse. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, we have Peter Gardeau. Ian DeRosier. Mark Roback. Stuart McCord. Ivan Fjellbu. Runar Simonsen. Ruinous Inadequacies. Corey Morissette. Adam Cork. I'm sorry, Western Supermare Pilgrim. Joe Dopefish Sigler. Tim Wood and Steve Down to Earth Kohler. At the $1.71 I Want My Own tier, we have
Rich, Youngwy, Shaylor.
I know who Rich is. Rich is my favorite.
At the 10 Cold Hard Danish Kroner tier, we have Karsten Lau.
Cold Hard Danish Kroner.
And at the at the $1 made up name tier, we have the Rainbow Grave Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel, Swapper the Electric Alchemist, Andres Engstrom, ICDC, Durple Purple, David Haddam, Graham Bonnet's Disco Pants and Haircuts.
I said, Graham, our audience expects you to be a bit more dirty.
Disco Pants and Haircuts, yeah.
I'm just going to put my guitar across his head.
Eddie Lyon.
Homosexual.
And Sick Tone.
Where is she? Where is she? She's just about to close up the library.
And thank you to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. And without further ado, let's have John bust out that spreadsheet.
We're just busting out the spreadsheet, and he's fumbling with the tabs.
All right, I have adjusted the spreadsheet because I know what you're going to say.
Thank you. Because I was fumbling the whole time, and I can't ask you because you're in the middle of reading the patrons. So
I don't know. Next time, you have plenty of time to text me.
Hey, all right.
All right, John. Now that Zzebra is added to the spreadsheet, let us know where Zzebra falls in the overall rankings.
All right, so I sorted it the wrong way.
Oopsie, sorted it the wrong way.
Now I don't know what is bad.
He doesn't know what's bad.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I? Shit. All right, I did this the wrong way.
See, he could have done all this fumbling if the spreadsheet was in proper running order. He could have done this while I was reading the patrons.
There we go. Okay. I don't like how you changed the artists here. No, you can't. Okay, there we go. You changed the artist column. It's a lot like more compact than it used to be.
Is it? Oh, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm good though. I got it.
All right, figured it out.
All right, so we got a 7.19. So I think it falls like kind of like the bottom of the middle a little bit. It looks like.
Yeah, it's almost dead center, right?
Yeah, it was kind of.
It's 75th out of 140, so it's pretty almost center.
Yeah, so let me see. We're tied here with Moxie.
Oh.
And it's a little bit above Turning to Crime, which we haven't thought about for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And our variance was very small, is 0.08. So we both really, I rated it slightly lower, but I think that's because you liked a couple of songs like a lot, and I liked them a lot, but not as much.
Yeah.
And I think we had one big variance where I was down here, you were up here. But overall, very enjoyable album. I knew probably halfway through, I'm like, yeah, this will be one of the offshoot albums that we really like, which honestly I wasn't expecting, because when I read the kind of like a little summary about the two bands forming into one and the style of music it was, I was kind of like, oh boy, I don't know. Said I might not like this, but there's always that chance I might like it, and I'm glad that I did. It's very cool, experimental type of album.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll listen to the first track or like part of the first track and be like, oh yeah, like I'm digging this, and then the album won't deliver. And I think this is one of the situations where it really did.
Yeah.
Like, I heard that first few seconds of that track and I was like excited. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a fun episode because I'm really liking what I'm hearing in just a few seconds. So I hope that's not just some anomaly where it's like this super awesome groove and it turns into this like super, I don't know, lame sort of frou-frou, vocal music or whatever. But it kept that groove. And like I mean, I've always loved John McCoy, and he's just such a character, like he was just the kind of guy where looking like he looks, even he doesn't even need to play the bass that good for Gillan, because it's like he's just like this vision on stage. So you're like, but it just so happens I've always really liked him as a rock bass player, but I've never really heard him play like this. And it has just opened up a whole new respect for him. I've seen him in interviews. I've been fortunate enough to just chat with him a little bit over the years. If I had a quick question, super nice guy. Always really respected him, but my respect has just like blossomed hearing him do the things he was doing on this album, having the freedom he had, and it's just unbelievable. But that being said, there's a lot of really great stuff on this album. The horns and the arrangements were great. The drums and the percussion were awesome. I loved the vocals of Amau, who I hope's name I'm pronouncing properly. Just really interesting album. And when John recommended, he's like, oh, listen to Panic, which is the next album. And I was like, oh man, he's not even recommending this one. He's recommending this one over this one. So I can only imagine, especially how things went in the early 70s. These guys probably got together and were barely together for any time at all. Boom, in the studio, make it happen, fill up an album, and then they're on the road. So, they probably had a little bit more time to mature and gel together. They had some personnel changes. So the next album should be something really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a great new discovery. My favorite new discovery in quite some time. And I'm going to be listening to this one quite a bit. I'm going to be putting this one on my drives and really, really drilling down on it a little bit more.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I think that's all I got, John. You got anything before we wrap up this week's episode?
No, that's it for me.
Once again, we will we'll be back at you next week with who knows what. I don't think we really know. But then I think after the next couple of weeks, I think we have all the episodes for the rest of the year pretty much lined up. So.
Oh, good.
I don't know why we have this weird little lull right now, but that being said, it's looking like that recent interview with Ian Pace. It's looking like they might have their album out in the fall, maybe October, November. So can you imagine squeezing in a new Deep Purple album this year?
Jeez.
Crazy.
No, right? I can't believe it. Jeez.
And then they'll be on tour again. So they're already booking 2026. So who knows, maybe by the end of the year or by early next year, we'll be flying somewhere to meet up and see them yet again.
My goodness. Yeah.
Crazy. But all right, folks. Well, thanks for listening. And me and John will be back at you next week with another one.
Next week.
Later.
If you like the Deep Purple podcast and would like to support the show, please consider joining our Patreon or donating on PayPal. Patrons get full access to the podcast, Discord server, ratings, spreadsheets, and live stream invites. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. You can also check out the website at deeppurplepodcast.com for show notes and more. Contact us via email at John or Nate at deeppurplepodcast.com. Thanks for listening.